Here's leaving the apartment ASMR. Out the door. The auto lock. I just wanted to get this little moment of walking out of this place because it's so cool. So I'm on the 4th floor heading downstairs. Because the weather's so light in Fukuoka, there's a lot of just open design that is just such a strange feeling thing to a Canadian. So I love in this place, like I'm just walking down through all these each floor has 4 apartments, and there's a lot of them that are Airbnbs, so they're cleaning them up in between. And then when you get to the bottom, the doorway outside is just open. Ta-da! I didn't even have to open a door. I just walk outside, and now I'm on the street. I've stepped up to the streets. It's such a nice feeling to just wake up and you just walk, and it's just like, look at that. There we go. I'm outdoors. Outdoors and indoors is just one big thing. I mean, it's like that in Tokyo too, but it's extra like that in Fukuoka. There was an apartment building I passed when I was walking to Umebayashi where it was such a strange looking thing because it was like you could see the central windows in the building where the stairs were. They were like in the middle and the apartments were on either side. So that wouldn't be so weird if it's just windows that you can see into the hallways and stairways of an apartment, except there were no windows. It was just open. You could just see right in. Which also wouldn't be that weird if there were no walls, if it was just, an opening, like a courtyard in the middle of the building. Then it would just be the stairways up to the apartments, and that wouldn't be so strange. But just the way it was designed, it looked just like an interior hallway, but it's just got big openings in it. It's just missing walls. It's just a big gap because the weather just never gets bad enough that you'd have to have a window there. And it's just like, man, that's a weird feeling. But yeah, it feels really nice. I like leaving that place. I like coming back at the end of the day. I just like it that I'm just walking down the street and you just turn a corner and walk down a little alley and into a permanently always opened door, and just now you're just in your apartment building. It's just cool. It just feels cool. This place, even though it is a little pricey, $48 a day Canadian, I think it was, I feel like this one is kind of worth it. I wish I was here longer. I'm only here for 10 days. But I believe these 10, were these the only ones? This one might have been available more, I don't know. And then going down through the apartment and seeing all the other Airbnb stuff, it's like, I didn't see those listings. Is everything just rented? I don't know, Airbnb is quite slippery. It's quite a weird thing. And I guess it's one of those things too. There's just a lot of people in the world. There's a lot of people coming to Japan. I kind of thought maybe the fall, when I thought the fall weather was worse, I was like, maybe it'll help me get places. Maybe it'll make stuff be more available. And maybe it did. I don't know. Relatively speaking, who knows? But it's still not like I was spoiled for choice. There wasn't just all kinds of stuff available all over the place. You still gotta scramble a little to get stuff. Which incidentally reminds me, I really should set up. I guess I'm going to Seoul after Japan and I don't have anything set up. I should really do that. But yeah, I guess it was the other place I focused on more because it was closer to Umebayashi Station. So yeah, maybe this place was available a little more. It's all a bit of a blur now, setting up all my flights and Airbnbs, but I guess I set up 3 weeks in Fukuoka first. It's like I got the flight set up, then I just squeezed some Airbnbs in there. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be interesting because once I get back to Tokyo, I'm going back to cheaper accommodations with less space because I certainly don't need it. I mean, I got this big apartment. I don't need all that space. I really don't use it. But I certainly don't mind it. And it's just such a nice little location. It's so cool. Anyway, speaking of the location, I'm just walking down this nice little shopping street to, I gotta look it up because I can never remember the name of this station. Zas Honokuma Station. Oh, and I did look up the name of this subway system. Starts with an N, but I don't remember anymore. But it's not JR. I know it's considered one of the big 16. I didn't know there was a big 16 of regional train companies, but there is, and this is one of them. I think this station too, they said it opened in 1924. It's so hard to just conceptualize even of stuff like that. Like, what in the heck do you mean? What was it like to be here in 1924? You know, I can imagine that to some degree if you talk about old New York subway stops and stuff. It's still a little tough, but I mean, I've seen some footage and pictures and things, but I just have no idea what that means in Japanese terms. Anyway, for today's adventure, there's some stuff I kind of had on my mind. I'm running out of time here in Fukuoka. It's nice that I'm near Hakata Station, but dealing with Hakata is kind of a pain, you know? Once I get to Hakata, then to go beyond Hakata, I got to deal with the tangle of Hakata, and it's so confusing, and I never know where to go. I was thinking too with that last episode when I got stuck in Hakata. I basically just left Hakata and walked to the next station because I was like, I don't know what's going on. There's a small chance maybe I was just supposed to stay on that train. I just presumed all the trains get to Hakata and then turn around and go the other way. But maybe they pass through. I don't even know. I just have no idea how anything works there. So it's a little bit of a pain to have to pass through Hakata. It's such a big, crazy station. And then another idea I had that conceptually is kind of fun, but I don't know realistically if I will do it, is to just go the other way as far as I can go and just see where I end up. But the train system here is not like a flat rate. If it was, then that'd be no problem. Instead, you pay for the distance that you go, and it's generally a pretty good deal. Like, you can get short distances for $2 or $3. It's like great. But long distances, like when I would take the train all the way west in Tokyo, you know, the ride would be like $7 or $8. So who knows how much it would be here if I just go and go and go. Because I'm just gonna, I mean, kind of the point is to end up nowhere, but then I'll end up nowhere and I don't know why I'll be there or what I'll do. And then the round trip, next thing you know, maybe I'm spending $20 on this ride. I don't know. It's really not conceptually it's a funny idea. Realistically, I don't know if that's a good plan. So we'll see. We'll see if I ever pull the trigger on that one. Wow, am I gonna do it? Did I actually just walk to the subway with no help? I think I did. And then there's also the consideration that it gets dark really early. It's December, early December. So I only have so much time in the day, and it's surprising how long it takes to get up and get going sometimes. Because I woke up medium early today, like 10 a.m., you know, not early, but early-ish. And I was like, all right, let's just get moving. So I get up, and a lot of YouTube videos these days are just talking heads, you know, so you don't really need to sit and watch them, but I got a little program where I can just convert them to MP3 and then just listen to them on my phone as I wander around during the day. So fire up the laptop, download today's YouTube videos, text one of my friends, tell them about the cool view I found yesterday, charge up my little hair buzzer, give my hair a little buzz, take a shower. Next thing I know, it's noon. It's like, dang, you know, it just really eats up the time fast. So especially if I'm going to go on a far-flung adventure up the northern coast or south to nowhere, a little extra time wouldn't kill me. So I think what I'm going to do is a little alteration of what I did 2 episodes back when I went to Dazaifu. Dazaifu itself is all right. That place is kind of cool, but I feel like I did it. I saw what there is to see there. I'm only the 5th person on this subway platform because I'm not heading toward Hakata. I'm going the other way. So yeah, what I did is I got off at
1番乗り場に大善寺行き電車が到着します。ご乗車の際は電車とホームの隙間が広いところがありますのでご注意ください。
at Tofurumae, Tofuromae. Oh, there's the train station near the remains of the Dazaifu government office. and I found a cool little independently seemingly run convenience store called the Best Convenience System, and there were paths going up into the woods, possibly to Iwaya Castle Ruins. So that's my plan. Now I gotta get on this train. Alright, I changed plans very slightly. I got off one station early at Shimoori Station, Shimoori, because I saw on the map, let me see, Mizuki Fortress Ruins, Mizuki, which does seem to be the name of this little neighborhood. So I figured, why not just get off the train one stop early, and I can see what that's all about. There's also Mizuki Museum a little bit out of the way, but that's all right. I'll give the museum a pass. It's kind of interesting to just go look at YouTube videos of these places I've been to and just see, it's like, oh yeah, there it is. There's all the stuff I did. And, so for Dazaifu, it was I guess a nice little confirmation that it's like, okay, yeah, I did see the stuff. I didn't make some grievous error like I did at the Congo Falls where I missed the actual falls. But the one thing that I did miss is there's a museum there that is like this great, big, giant building with reflective windows, and it does seem like it's actually kind of cool. That might be worth going to check out. But I do remember by the weird children's park, I did see signs that said this way to the museum. So in my perverse, ignorant style, I went the other way. But then I went to a whole different shrine adventure and stuff, so it all worked out fine, But seeing it in the YouTube videos, I'm like, oh, maybe. I don't know, that might be worth it. But that's a nice thing too. There's YouTube videos about almost everything, so it's nice that you can just pull up stuff. Since this obviously the big problem here is I'm lacking visuals. But it's kind of cool. You can just kind of pull stuff up. You could just let somebody else's tour of an area play while you listen to me ramble. It's neat that it's all there. It's all available. People really liked the fancy Starbucks at Dazaifu. Everyone I watched was like, ooh, look at this. Look at the fancy Starbucks. Which, I don't know, I guess it's just different tastes for different folks. Because, I love Starbuckses and coffee shops and dumb shit like that. But the idea of the Starbucks trying to fit in to the historical place with but this isn't just a normal Starbucks, this is a special Starbucks. There's no other Starbucks that looks like this. This is the cool Starbucks. Where to me, I'm like, nah, dude, I'm more than happy for there to be a Starbucks. That don't bother me, but don't pretend that the Starbucks is special. Don't pretend that there's any reason to care about the Starbucks. Get out of here with that. I was gonna wait till I got to the convenience store to get a drink, but now that I stopped early and I got a detour to Fortress Ruins, it's like, I'll just get a drink now. Ayataka Cafe, matcha latte. Oh, it is hot though, could kind of go for cold. That is a slightly awkward thing. I'm certainly not complaining. This weather is fucking insane. Every time there's a slightly bad day and I think, well, that's it. The weather's bad now, and then it's just insanely good the next day. This is beautiful. It's like 12 or 13 degrees, maybe a little more. That's where it's a little awkward in Fukuoka because I have to kind of wear layers. I've got a hoodie and a weather-resistant jacket and a thermal shirt in my back pocket. It's way too much stuff. I could honestly just be in my t-shirt right now and I'd be fine. But once the sun goes down, I'm gonna need this stuff. Maybe not all these layers, but maybe, because I also have little stretchy gloves tucked away in my pocket, and most evenings I need them. So yeah, it's a pretty wild swing. It does get mighty cold at night. Man, it's interesting too, getting off at that other subway stop. The disparity between, train stop, that one's not a subway. But the disparity between the different stops is really surprising, because this is that fancy line that has the big fancy concourse by Tenjin. So I was surprised when I got off at the station after this the other day, and there's this teeny weeny little station with a squat toilet. I was like, oh geez, the return of the squat toilet. But then today at this station, only one station before, it opens up directly into a little mini mall, and it's super modern and has a nice, awesome, fancy toilet of the future. And it's just one stop away from each other. So it'd be one thing if the squat toilet station was like way out in the countryside or something. But nope, it's just the next one. Don't get off at that one. Not recommended. All right, I found a little path up through some trees. I think I'm going the right way. I definitely try not to rely on the phone GPS too much, though it is very handy. And man, it sure is neat being on a train. I've probably said this before, but just seeing the blue dot actually move. When you're on foot, it's very hard to perceive movement in the blue dot. But on a train, it just zips right along. All right, I am at what is listed as the Mizuki Fortress Ruins. And it's kind of nice where there's, again, the mountains. The mountains of Fukuoka are just insane. They're so beautiful all the time. And there's like a little overpass in the distance. So it's just, I like that duality. There's the overhead highway, the sign of man, and then behind it, the sign of nature. But yeah, I think when they say ruins, they're not kidding. It's just a field. There's really not anything here that I can see. But yeah, I'll stroll through, see if I see anything. But I don't see statues or plaques or even, a lot of these sites of ruins I've found so far. There's foundations of buildings that are left, and that might kind of be it. But I don't even see that here. This is just a field. But that's cool. Get off early, take a little extra walk, see a little touch more of the neighborhood. But yeah, let me explain better what I'm going to do today. I had to rush and get onto the train. So yeah, a couple days ago, when I came back from Dazaifu, I found this convenience store that I think was called Best Convenience System. And it was really cheap. The onigiri was only 100 yen. Really surprisingly, the little fruit sandwiches that are like fruit with whipped cream was 150 yen, which is like a third of what those things usually cost. It was weird. And then when I ate them, the onigiri was a little smaller and the fruit sandwich had a little less stuff in it, but it was just still awesome and delicious. And it was just neat to go to a store that wasn't one of the big famous brand name versions. So it's not that I gotta go back to that store. That's just a bonus. On the way is that store. But like they don't have English labels, for example. So I just got a random onigiri. They had like 4 kinds. I got one that I think was teriyaki beef. So I'm just gonna get the other 3. Let's try them. I haven't had any breakfast or lunch. That's my plan. Just go to the Best Convenience System. But then, right near there, speaking of foundations of buildings, the remains of Dazaifu Government Office. I walked past that on the way to Dazaifu Station, and it was mainly just a park with the foundation of old buildings still there. But there appeared to be paths up into the mountains, and the mountains are obviously visually, like there they are, they're right there. Paths up into the mountains, possibly to shrines. And I'm not sure how far that little map that I found there, how far it actually showed. But according to the map, all the paths were very clearly marked, and there seemed to be washrooms, even as you get up into the mountain. So it's clearly a place you're meant to go do a little hike up the mountain. Now here's a good example of the blue dot thing. I gotta be like, I'm quite sure I'm going the right way, but let's just make sure. And there's a little cone, a vision cone, to show which way you're pointing, but that is the one thing on my phone that does not always work. Sometimes it's backwards, sometimes it's 90 degrees. I can't always be sure that it's actually pointing me the right way. Though the good thing is when it messes up, it stays messed up, so I can just remember how it's supposed to be. Yeah, the little dot moving so slowly, but yeah, okay, I'm going the right way. But yeah, it seems like a very well developed little hike up the mountain. An inviting hike, a come do this type of hike. And it's so close, it's really close for me to get there. It's only a few subway stops away. So I thought that could be good because this will feed my urge to go explore, go see a new thing, go hike up a mountain. and go to a new convenience store again. All the stuff I want to do without having to go on a big epic journey. This is a nice little nearby one. And that is still just one of my favorite things about Japan that is so unique to this country, at least as far as the countries I've been to, that a mountain hike is so incredibly accessible. It's not even like, oh, it's pretty easy to get to or it's quite close. It's right fucking there. You go to the convenience store, you go across the street, you walk across a medium-sized park, and there you go. You're at the foot of the mountain. It's nuts. But now I gotta make sure I don't miss best convenience system because I didn't see it as I walked past in the daytime before. I only saw it at night when the sign was lit up. So I gotta be a little vigilant. I gotta make sure I don't miss it this time. And just as a great demonstration of how this is not one of the major chains, it's only open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's unheard of in Japan. That's a wild idea. And I gotta take off these layers. Oh man, the sun is out now. It's feeling more like 15 or 16 degrees. Gonna tie these bad boys around my waist like a kilt. Well, I can see how I missed best convenience system on my way by because it's literally across the street from the Dazaifu government office ruins. So my eyes were drawn toward this particular park that is just the foundations of old buildings and some statues and stuff. Currently a bunch of kids playing. And I was looking at the pathways and the mountains and all that stuff. So yeah, I totally missed this delightful little convenience store. And it really is awesome, man. It's like, it must be tough out there if you're not one of the major chains trying to compete. Because even their like brand name items seemed to be a little cheaper than usual. Like I think they're really just like squeezing to try to get people to come to their store. But yeah, I got the $1.50 yellow peach jam and whipped cream sandwich, but then they also had this other sandwich. Delicious sandwich is all it says in English, but it's only $2.70 and it's like egg and ham and it looks awesome. So I was like, all right, let me grab that. And then I was gonna get just the normal onigiris, but then I saw that they have, this is something I found at a New Days in 2019, but I haven't seen at all here. And actually these ones are a little different, but it's like an older style of onigiri where they kind of fold it over like a big sandwich or like a hot dog almost. So they had some of those. These ones, they're kind of shaped almost more like a little pouch, like a little, they got the seaweed on the outside and then on the inside is the rice, but I have no idea what they are. So I got a couple of those. And then they had a bakery section too. I got a little melon bread for 100 yen, and I don't even know what the other thing is. Maybe a pizza roll or something? But yeah, lots of like handmade stuff. Everything's really cheap. I mean, I just pigged out. I got so much stuff, and then I got my traditional carton of coffee for the way up the mountain. But all this stuff, even though I was like, oh, give me this, give me that, give me all this stuff, it was like $12. It's like, fuck, this is awesome. So I'm not going to sit here and eat in real time, because that's of arguable entertainment value and is possibly gross. Yeah, these things are only 130 yen, these bigger folded over onigiri. I just want to try one of these and just see what it is, or possibly both, since these are brand new to my adventures. I guess one big difference is that the normal onigiri, they're packaged so that the nori, the seaweed, stays separate from the rice to keep it crunchy. So the difference with this one is that it's all together, so it's moist, which is not better, not worse, just different. So let's see what this one is. They had, I think, 4 of these. I just grabbed 2 of them at random, 2 different kinds. All right, I think this one is like seaweed innards. Not bad, very traditional. Let's try this other one, which just based on color, this one's pink. Maybe it's plum. It sure is. Salted plum. I'm really coming around on plum. Plum's pretty good. Plum is kind of in the middle of like, it's sort of like a dessert, but also not. But I kind of feel like I should save the plum one for last because it's a little desserty. Anyway, fucking delightful. So I'm gonna eat this stuff, cram it in my belly, and then see if I can't find my way up the mountain. Man, what weird weather. Just on my way to Best Convenience System, I had to take the little thermal shirt that was in my back pocket and drape it around my neck because the sun was so hot. It's like, dude, I'm gonna get a sunburn. This is fucking me up. Then I stopped in the convenience system, hopped across the road, had a little sit in the park, and just in that little short amount of time, the sun went behind some clouds. And then I felt the chill, and it's like, ooh, I gotta put on a layer. And then I gotta put up my hood. And now I'm just kind of back to wearing most of my stuff. But if the sun comes out again, could be back to death. Man, though, I thought ahead a little, and it totally worked. Is, going up, even though these hills are right next to the park and the road and everything, there's still like a little warning sign about wild boars. And it's certainly not common, but I did see one way over on Mount Aburayama in 2019. Hey, here's a little arrow, 0.3 kilometers to Citizens Forest is where I think I'm going. I think they call it that on Mount Aburayama too. That's just kind of a weird term that they seem to use around Fukuoka for a public forest part. Citizens Forest. I don't know, it has that sort of eerie, like crushing government sound. The Citizens Forest. I don't think they mean it that way, but that's how it sounds to me. But yeah, I had this little package, just as far as, I always just try to throw away my garbage each day, not to let it accumulate. And I did just get my review from my last Airbnb. And the guy mentioned, like, wow, the garbage was all sorted, the place was spick and span, and the garbage was sorted because I never used the garbage. I didn't put anything in those garbage cans, so technically, yeah, I guess you could say I sorted all the garbage. But he left a little private note to me that was like, man, thanks for, leaving the place in such good shape. Come back anytime. And that's exactly what I wanted. that is one of those little ego things I do like. I like being the good Airbnb guest. I like getting a little pat on the head because I looked after your Airbnb. So yeah, I enjoyed being acknowledged. I started walking down a little lane, but I think I'm going the wrong way. I'm staying on the paved road, but then I just saw over a little crest of a hill a lady walking her dog on a stone path, and it's like, that's probably the one. That is probably the Citizens Forest. The dog walkers, man, they always know where the parks are. They know where to go. Man, there's leaves actively falling from some trees today. Still mostly green around these parts, but yeah, it is. It's like summer and fall at the same time. Back and forth like I'm in a washing machine. Wub, 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 wub. It's all the weather. Except the snow part. Incredibly small amounts of rain since I've been here too, almost none. But yeah, I had this package at home, ready to be thrown away. It's this thing I buy pretty often, where it's just, all the major chains have them. It's just like rice crackers and peanuts. And you can get normal ones, spicy ones, or wasabi ones, which when I can find those, they're my favorite ones. So it's just a little snack, whatever. But it comes in a little package that has like a Ziploc bag top. If you don't eat the whole thing, which I usually just eat the whole thing, but theoretically you could seal it up and save it for later. So I grabbed that little thing, but I did not throw it away. I kept it on purpose because I was thinking, if I go to Best Convenience System or whatever store you go to, if I get onigiris and I get a sandwich and whatever, I got to keep all this garbage on me, unless I ate everything, standing outside the convenience store. Ooh, the wind is picking up. Good time to go into the woods. But yeah, I'm going to have all these wrappers for onigiris and sandwiches, and turns out bakery, an unexpected bonus. And all these wrappers, they just have like residue on them. So even if I just keep them balled up in my jacket pocket till I get to a garbage can later, they'll still have the smell of food. And again, it seems super unlikely that I'll actually meet a wild boar anywhere. But the smell of food certainly adds to that possibility. So I just put those wrappers inside the rice cracker and peanut bag and then sealed it up with this little Ziploc seal. Folded it over, put that in my jacket pocket, and now it's all sealed away so I don't smell like food. I like stuff like that, figuring out little uses for the stuff that you've got with you anyway. So here are some little stone monuments. See, I was saying last episode how confused I am by the idea of leaving offerings. But here it's just little like sake cups. To me, that makes sense. That's kind of neat. Like a little sake cup, and you could just put some liquid in it, and it's a nice gesture, a nice acknowledgement. Where, I won't keep harping on it, but when people bring in the juice cartons that are like wine in a juice carton, poke a straw through it and leave it there, I feel like that's far more akin to littering. But just having the little tiny cup that you could just put a little booze in, that's kind of cool. Oh, here's a map. Dazaifu Citizens Forest Trail map. Alright, so I presume that's me at the bottom. A variety of wetlands. I got enough wetlands in Canada, in Atlantic Canada, that's okay. Autumn forest ahead of me. There's a flower garden. There's a cherry blossom viewing site, though for me that's probably no biggie. So I think what I'm going to do is basically just head straight through all this stuff. There's one little path that just goes around in a circle and comes back. Oh, but there's an observatory. I was going to say I should avoid that one, but observatories are always worth it in Japan. So maybe I should do that. And then there's a bigger trail up the woods toward Iwaya Castle Ruins and the summit of Shioji Temple. So that's where I ultimately want to go. Somehow it's already 2:30. I don't know how this keeps happening to me, where the day just keeps slipping by. But when you're right at a mountain, I mean, it's a mountain. It seems like that should be quite an undertaking. But like that little side mountain road that I went up last episode, I mean, I walked up the whole thing in like 20 minutes. If you're just heading straight up a mountain, it's not that bad. Even the Grouse Grind in BC, which is a nightmare. I'll probably never do it again. It takes me like 2 hours or 2.5 hours. It's brutal, but people can do it in no time at all. I think you can get up it again in like 20 minutes if you're in insane shape. So even though it's already 2:30, I probably have more than enough time to go find this observatory and then get to the summit temple. That's the plan for today. So, let's go. Beautiful Harmony, Dazaifu City. That's not fully a thought, but I don't disagree. Man, this citizen's forest is like playing with my heartstrings for a second, where, I mean, I just ate a frankly repulsive amount of food. I got way too much stuff at the convenience system. Could barely hold it all in my hands, but it's like, I don't know when I'm going to be back here. And I ate everything except some melon bread. Got some melon bread tucked away. But then I got to the washroom here, the last washroom on the map, so it's like, all right, I should head on in there before I continue up the mountain. And I saw the squat toilet, and it's like, oh man, do I? Is it important enough that I use the washroom, that I deal with this fucking thing? But then they had a second toilet that was Western. It's like, the beautiful angel chorus. There must be people that just legitimately really prefer the squat toilet. And I saw the dog walking lady at the bottom of this park, but she actually didn't come in. Everyone I've seen in this park so far has been 3 old guys. So I guess if anybody's gonna expect a squat toilet and be annoyed if there isn't one around, it's gonna be a cantankerous old man, right? Well, you got your precious squat toilet. And I got my precious Western toilet. Everybody's happy. Oh yeah, I also got to see the Christmas thing at Hakata Station last night. Since I got to Hakata and again was just confused about how to even get on the train that I needed to get on, it just seemed easier to just get off and go walk to the next station. But I also wanted to get off because I wanted to see, now that it's all set up, see the Christmas thing. And I'm glad my friend Brad mentioned to me that it is a German-themed thing, because I probably wouldn't have caught on. Oh, here I am at the path up to the shrine, but I'm going to continue on because I want to see this observation deck thing. So let's do that. But yeah, it's one of those things, I think if I had been here with people, if I knew some people in Fukuoka, and I could go to the Christmas pavilion and hang out and let it soak in, I think I'd get into the vibe. It seemed nice. But I literally just kind of walked past and I was getting pretty exhausted at that point, so I didn't hang around. I just got a light brushing, got a tiny taste of the Christmas-iness. But yeah, I did notice that there's a little bit of just, I don't know, just like Scandinavian even feeling. I think it is specifically supposed to be based on a German market, but it just feels a bit like you're in a fairy tale. There was like roast stuff and just foods that you wouldn't really associate with Japan. It felt like a hearty northern Christmas vibe. Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely outside of the main park now. Everything up till now has been really paved. Now I'm going through the nice woods path, the path in the woods, hewn into the side with man-made steps. But yeah, the one thing I don't enjoy about the Christmas time, I don't usually notice it right away because I usually have headphones in, but it's always 7-Eleven is the worst, the worst culprit of bad music. Well, I guess that's not true. Hard Off is probably the worst. But it used to be that 7-Eleven would play Muzak versions of Daydream Believer and other corny songs in 2019. And I haven't noticed that as much, but they have started playing Christmas jingles now that it's December, and I just do not like Christmas music. I can count on one hand the number of Christmas songs I like. The Christmas song that the band Slade did, S-L-A-D-E, is actually probably the only Christmas song I legitimately like. Oh, and maybe, what's the Old Town Road guy? Hey, it's a holiday. That's an okay holiday song. But yeah, I don't know. Christmas music is extremely cloying and annoying, and it really drove me nuts when I was a coffee shop employee and they would put that shit on all day. It's just like, fuck off. Why do you hate me? Why do you want my brain to feel like it's a scared animal being poked at by a flaming spear? Oh, and Yodobashi Camera, the place where I found the Eurocamp gachas. Loud holiday music. Ugh. Barf. I just don't like it at all. So it's a shame that Japan has picked up that bad habit. Because North America does that shit too, and it sucks. It sucks everywhere you go. Maybe you could play some holiday music a little bit here and there, starting like 2 weeks before Christmas. Don't start a month early and just never stop playing it. It's awful. It fucking sucks. So there's the Christmas update. On to the observatory. All right, I made it up to the observation platform, and actually that one was, the break in the trees was pretty minor, and we're not super high up, so I'd say if you happen to be coming to visit this park, you could give that a miss. You don't need to necessarily go to the observation deck. It's a little mid by the beautiful standards of Japan. But what I did find up there was a cantankerous old man, and that was kind of cool because he's basically doing exactly what I want to do. When I get older, I really hope I can find somewhere close enough to an incline like this, close enough to a mountain where it's so easy. in Fukuoka. They're everywhere. Back in North America, I don't know. But, I mean, I guess there's that grouse grind in North Van, but that thing is a nightmare. That's too much. But yeah, this was my idea, to just stay active and mobile as an older guy, is you just got to have a goal. You got to have a reason every day to keep yourself in shape. And the reason is just get up to the top of the mountain, go on a hike. The trail near Umebayashi Station is my platonic ideal. Like, that's the perfect one. But just anything like that, just a reason to to get up and go every day. Keep yourself limber. And specifically, along those lines, he was up there doing stretches. So yeah, it's just like perfect. You get up there, you get limber. Uh-oh. I don't recognize where I am. Okay, well anyway, just got to get back to the park proper and then find that other path up to the castle ruins. Although it really was just such a minor little path in the woods. Was that really the right path? Because there's another path, but I don't know where that goes. I'm back on a paved path with a little bridge with metal railings. I definitely did not pass this the first time. How is this possible? I feel like I'm in some weird story. I'm in a labyrinth where they're just changing stuff behind me. But yeah, that's where I feel like it just adds to a person's desire or enthusiasm for exercise. I mean, it certainly is this way for me. The idea of going to a gym, I don't like that idea at all. Just being around people, being observed, being indoors, none of that. Having to particularly get into a car to drive to a gym, none of that is anything that I want to do. I want to be by myself. I want to be out in nature. Okay, these are like these wetlands. I must have come down on the other side of this mountain. Dang it. Okay, I'm going to go keep circling around. I think that's what happened. I need to circle all the way around this mountain with the observation deck. 'Cause this ain't right. But yeah, you get out in nature, you get fresh air, you go up. Going up is important because it takes so much more energy to go up, you know? You get so much more exercise out of going up. Because I mean, I can walk literally all day. And it does have health benefits, but I think walking for like 8 hours, it also breaks your body down. A lot of bad comes of it as well. I think the shorter distance of hiking upward for less time is better. Again, as long as you're careful. But it even helps you modulate yourself because you're going up. It's much easier to go at a slow, reasonable pace. Then at the top, he got a view. He got to see a view out across Fukuoka while he did his stretches. It's perfect. It's all the stuff. Oh, except to go this way, I gotta go back up again. Let me just take a moment. But yeah, the other thing, being a gruff old Japanese guy, but there's kind of an upside to that too, is he just ignored me like I wasn't there. But in this case, that wasn't bad, because otherwise I would have felt bad that I was interrupting him, or like, am I embarrassing him that I'm here while he's trying to do stretches? I still didn't hang around too long. I just kind of took a little breather, got out of there. But it was nice to not have, in this case, the North American argle bargle and foofara of hello, oh hey, how you doing, and like having to pretend we're friends and have a little chit chat, you know, like you would do in North America, which would actually interrupt him and get in the way of what he's doing. Instead, he just kept on doing it. He just kept on keeping on. He let me stand there to catch my breath, then I left, and it was kind of nice. It was nice to be ignored in this case. All right, so there's the observation deck down. Now let's try to get to the castle ruins. So I had to take a little circle around. That really was so much food that I ate at that convenience store. Just ridiculous. There's not enough room in my body. I'm lucky that I have a fast metabolism. And despite the fact that it makes me pee all the time, the fact that my internal organs are smaller than normal, which is a weird thing for someone to even know about themselves, but I had an MRI once and that's what they told me. But it's probably a good thing. It's like my stomach is stapled. So I am a skinny man. And eating all that stuff, it was just pushing out yesterday's poop. Let's just say what it is. I had to go back to the washroom, so I went around the other side of this park. There's a lot of planes fly over here. But of course, in Fukuoka, you're always near the airport. But yeah, I went around the other side of the park, and I thought for a moment, I'm like, oh my God, this one only has one toilet, and it's a squat toilet. But there was a sort of, I guess what you'd call the family washroom in North America. The wheelchair accessible washroom. Which, yeah, I also noticed, I mean, this whole park, the main part, not the mountain I'm on now, but the main part of the park is all paved. This is a wheelchair accessible park, which is pretty cool. But yeah, there was no one around. I hadn't seen anyone since the old man at the observation peak. Old man, he's probably 15 years older than me. So I just used that toilet with the Western toilet. I'm like, ah, the hell with it, I'm using it. Got away with that one. But then walking back up the incline of the park, because I had to go quite a ways back, but I just had to. Hello. Oh my God, just when you think you're free to just talk about your poop. That's the first non-old lady in this park, and it was a beautiful woman. She's probably like 30. I could smell her perfume as I walked by. Okay, I don't mean to be a creep. I'm just saying what happened. But okay, she's gone. Back to poop. Well, no, I guess I was done talking about poop. I was walking back up the incline of the park. Because, yeah, I was trying to convince myself, oh, you don't have to go all the way back there, do you? But then what's going to happen? I'm going to get to the top of this mountain, some kind of ruins and a temple. Who knows where this trail's going to end? Just go poop, so I did. But then walking back up the incline of the park, I was like, oh, fuck, this sucks. I'm just so worn out from that. It's like, man, I wish I didn't have to add this into the day. But it's interesting that even though that was a more gentle incline, that part was more miserable. Once I got to this proper course up the mountain, it's a lot steeper and a lot harder, but it feels much better. Just dragging yourself up a slight incline is like, blah. Pushing yourself up a hill, that's better. And even though the start of this path, it was like a weird little, I'm like, is that really the entrance? It's a weird little path. But that wasn't the proper entrance. The proper entrance has a big sign and a little container full of walking sticks. I haven't seen that since Fredericton, New Brunswick, in the UNB woodlot. There's a part where it's split in half by a highway. And on either side of the highway were a bunch of walking sticks. I'm surprised you don't see that more often in Japan, because they have like a lot of communal umbrellas and stuff. But I did not take a walking stick. I'm not sure if it actually helps my bad shoulder or makes it worse, because it kind of makes me use my shoulder more. It's like you're trading in your shoulders for your knees. Maybe, I don't know. I did have some hiking poles in Canada, but I used them in the winter when it was like an ice nightmare to keep me from falling and dying. And it always made my shoulders hurt more, but it was worth it in that case. But in this case, no need, but it was cool to see them. But yeah, just very obvious evidence that this is the right way to go. And now I'm on like full-fledged stairs heading up. And yeah, as I was walking up through these trees, and I was just thinking, like, again, this is purely from a physical perspective. This is not at all a commentary on Japanese society or what it would be like to grow up here, because I really don't know. I have only the vaguest notion of what that's like. But purely based on the physical place, the thought I had was like, man, talk about lucky to be born here, you know? Or even just for, as a people, to be from here, to have developed here. It's so fucking beautiful and awesome. Whereas in Canada, Jesus, you know, we're lucky we didn't all just freeze to death. That shit is fucked. It's a bug-filled nightmare. It's got its moments, but it's got a lot of problems too. Again, purely speaking from a physical perspective, from a political type perspective, I don't hate being Canadian. That's probably a pretty good place to have been born. But geographically, physically, this place is so fucking cool. However, that being said, since yesterday I found all those cool dams up in the mountains, and I was trying to imagine what it must be like during rainy season, watching the flood come down the side of the mountain. And I'm like waiting for airplanes to go by, but they just won't stop. Spent half my life waiting for airplanes to go by. I guess I'll just talk over it. I tried to find footage of what it looks like when there's like a flash flood or something, or it's just rainy season in general in the mountains. But I think it's too specific of a request, or maybe I just didn't really know what to search for. And Google and YouTube by extension have gotten a lot worse lately. They're way more into showing you a popular video that is sort of kind of along the lines of what you're looking for, more so than what you actually searched for. So I couldn't find anything about that area, Sasagami. That's way too specific. But even just floods in general in mountains in Japan, no chance. And just water in general in mountains anywhere. No, I couldn't really. All I found was like, oh man, disaster footage. 4.2 million views of a flash flood, mudslide, super fucked crazy thing that may have happened relatively recently or may have happened fucking 12 years ago, whatever. We'll just kind of, again, like, let's just feed you something that has 1 million views rather than what you really search for. But seeing that stuff, it's like, holy yikes. The downside is pretty terrifying. And not just here, but even like Tornado Alley in the United States and all these places where really horrible stuff happens. That is one nice thing about Canada. You can expect terrifying cold, but that's something you can easily prepare for. Beyond that, there's not a ton of unexpected crazy things. Even when there is, it's like in 1977, before I was born. I just know because there's an Alexis on Fire song called Crisis about this. A 1977! It was just so especially cold that it became a, horrifying disaster event. But we don't have like landslides and earthquakes and tsunamis. And yeah, just seeing some of that stuff, I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, like that would take the bloom off this rose pretty fucking fast. To be around for any of the giant disasters. But as I've experienced none of them, I just really can't get over it, dude. Just everywhere I go, every random place I go. It's a little different in Tokyo, because in those cases it might just be a neighborhood, but that's pretty in its own way. Once you get into anywhere, even remotely nature adjacent, everywhere you go is just out of control. It's the best thing you've ever seen, over and over and over. Like this, now I've kind of been snaking around the edge of this mountain. There were some steps with a little rope fence on one side. Now it's just a normal path, snaking around the side. This is one of those cases where I feel like I can see the crest of the mountain, but probably not. It's probably an illusion. So I don't know how far I gotta go, but yeah, and then there's the valley down to the other side, and it's just like, God, it's so fucking beautiful. It's insane. Oh, maybe this is the top. I see a lot of sky up here. And a sign. Let's see what we got. Oh, these must be the castle ruins. So again, it's basically just the foundation. There's a small wall, a wall that comes up to about my ribs around the area. So it's not just in the ground. And we're at a spot where if you cleared out these trees a bit, there's theoretically a great view from up here. So I assume when this was a castle. Yeah. Iwaya Castle Ruins. Iwaya. Maybe. I'm not quite where the spot is on the map, but I assume that's what this is. Oh, it's so weird. So if I keep going up, Ono Castle is higher up. And then something else. I saw a thing for a shrine earlier, so maybe that's it. But it's weird. So it's like a little after 4 o'clock now. It's getting to the point where I shouldn't really go too much deeper, but this is so accessible and so close to the main park that I think I'm going to let it go a little bit today. If it gets dark, I am very fine with it. I'm confident I can get back down. It's no problem. But there's a P. P has to mean parking, right? A purple P. It's like, what do you mean parking? I'm up in a mountain. Because I guess there's a road that comes from the other direction, so I guess you can drive up from the other side? Because yeah, if you head over to the other side, I guess Umi Station on the JR line looks like the closest station to these mountains. That's an interesting idea. What if I tried to go there? But how does one do that? Oh, I see. You'd have to go way up north and then transfer and come back down. But yeah, it's weird. I'm in the mountains, but yeah, there's parking, and over here is the route in some, hotel. I mean, it's a little ways. It's not close, but if you just keep going, you get to Super Center Trial Umi, and there's an Aeon Mall somewhere around here I saw. Yeah, it's just so weird. You're just not that far from stuff. So yeah, this is weird to think. So it's not actually that big, this castle ruin. I mean, it's as big as it could be, I guess. You can only make it as big as there is land to put on it. But it's like 15, not even, I don't know, 10 meters? 10 meters by 10? Not very big. And now it's a little shrine. With money. There's like a ton. Nobody's coming to get this money. So of course there's the traditional 1 yen coins. I've got some 1 yen coins to get rid of, but I mean, I guess I'll put them here, right? It's the best thing to do with them. There's some 10s, but I saw a 50 in here. Where'd that go? Mostly 5 10s and 1s. Oh, I think I buried it. But there was definitely a 50 in here. And sometimes, don't worry, I'm not taking any of the money. I'm just sifting through it. But sometimes I do see 100 yen coins in these things. And it's like, dude, 100 yen, you could buy a fucking coffee with that out of a machine if you find one of the cheapo machines. And it always makes me think of this old video game called Brahmanar that was just like a yes-no game, a Boolean game. It's just text-based. So you just come upon situations and decide, do you want to do this, yes or no? So this would be a perfect Brahmanar thing. You come across a shrine, there's 150 yen in the offering plate. Take the money, and then you'd take it, and a random thing would always happen. So it would either be, in this case, you get the 150 yen, or, I don't know, a spider buried under the money bites you, and you might get poisoned. I don't think you'd ever get anything positive beyond just getting the money. But then real bad, if you're really unlucky, maybe a god is watching you, and it's like, the god saw you take the money. You're cursed, asshole. I think of that every time now. Because it's like, there's like 100 yen sitting in there. I don't need the 100 yen. It would be fucking weird for me to start stealing money. But it does always cross my mind. If I could just use that to buy a coffee. If I was like a homeless guy, maybe that's what I would do. I would come around to all of these and just steal the fucking bigger coins out of them so I could go to the store and buy... then you could go to the store, buy some sake, and then you could come back up here and offer it. But I wouldn't offer it like leaving it. I would offer it by going, hey spirit, do you want this? No, you want me to do it? Drink it for you? No problem. You know, and drink the booze. All right, well, anyway, I'm not getting any further by just standing here yammering to myself. Let's continue on up this mountain and see what we see. It looks like I'm pretty close to the top, so I got to assume I'm at least going to crest it pretty soon. And then, what if I could just fucking plow straight through and go to the other side? I wish the day didn't keep getting away from me so fast. I would like to try that. It seems extremely doable. There's just a train station on the other side. But it might not be the best plan. I don't know. We'll see. All right, well, I think this all worked out pretty fucking well in the end. On Google Maps, the Iwaya Castle Ruins is still more or less what I'm near. There's also the grave of Joun Takahashi, Joun Takhashi, is near here. But that's not where I am specifically. Airplane, of course, endless airplanes. But yeah, I went up a little further and I got to a highway, just a big paved highway road. And that kind of, the good thing about that is it sort of took away my, that weird impulse to just keep going across the mountain down to the other side, because I can kind of see the other side now. And yeah, it's just more city. Maybe there's a woods path, but I think I would actually just be walking on the road maybe. That's not particularly exciting. I don't really want to do that. And not at night as well. So that's good. That's like, okay, don't do that. But then I got to this super outlook, which really feels like, okay, we can call that the end of the adventure and just go back from here. Because it ain't going to get better than this. This is extremely comparable. Basically, I just went up, when I got to the highway, right across the highway is another little path up. So I hopped over to that, and then there's a right and a left. So I picked right just because I saw the grave. And I didn't get to the grave, but just, that's the direction in case you need to figure out where to go. So that's why I went to the right. And yeah, I'm just on this big flat plateau, this shelf above the tree line with just no trees at all. Man, there's like God rays coming down across from me. Let me take a picture of that, make that the episode image. Holy shit, that looks good. Wow, that looks crazy. It looks cool in real life, but it looks really weird on the picture because there's pretty heavy clouds overhead, but in the distance there's a break in them so that sun can get through. It looks like an underground world. Like the clouds look like a ceiling. It's like I'm in fucking Journey to the Center of the Earth or something. But yeah, up here there's no trees. I'm above the tree line and I can see, like, where am I again? I'm trying to situate myself because again, it's so hard to, besides the Fukuoka Tower, it's very hard to tell what I'm looking at. Well, there's like a guide thing. So this is extremely comparable to that really cool view that I found above the Aburiyama Katai observation deck. And this one is very easy to get to and yeah, much more official. There's benches here and a cool little table made out of wood with little wooden seats. And it's got one of these like view guides, like a big sign to show you what you're looking at. What are the chances I can translate this bad boy? Mount Buddha, Mount Homan, Mount Aiko. So all around you can see mountains. Shimon Shrine, Chaten Dam, the Kyushu National Museum. Do I know what that is? Isn't that the one that I was talking about earlier that I didn't go to? Yeah, of course, because I'm in Dazaifu. Of course that's what it is. All right, starting to piece this together. Fukuoka International University. Mount Tempai. Oh, there's the government ruins, of course, because that's where I walked up from, right down there. Yeah, this is like really accessible. This was not hard to get to at all. And I mean, yeah, I think you can tell just from the amount of stuff I'm bringing up. You can see a fuck ton. So maybe I'd say the other view is maybe kind of cooler because it's more recognizable. This is like insane. Like you can see, I think, more. I can see, geez, of the 360, like 280 degrees of the 360. I can see so much stuff on all the sides. The only part I can't see is directly behind me, where it's just more, the mountain goes up a little further with some trees in the way. So I'd say both views they're comparable. They're 10 out of 10. They're both A+, you know. I think I like the other one a little more, but like whatever. It's again splitting hairs on the perfect view, because you can technically see more from up here. Dazaifu Viewpoint. Yeah, it's got like a little thing here to signify what this is. So even if you look that up, maybe that's a guide on how to get there as well. Yeah, this is totally worth it. This was so easy to get to, and I can just see everything. It's nuts. I'm tempted to chill out up here long enough to see it at night. I bet it looks really good at night. But the problem is the Aburiyama-Katai at night is quite easy to get down from. Even though this wasn't a long distance, it was just, just a path hewn into the side of the mountain. And it did have a steep valley on one side. I don't think I want to go down at night. That seems unnecessarily irresponsible. But I mean, I got the sun going down. That's pretty fucking good. So yeah, maybe I'll briefly go to the left. I'll go briefly down that other path just to see if there's anything immediate. Because yeah, this is one of those things that like, what if I'd gone the other way? What if I'd gone left? I only had to go right, like 30 seconds before I got up here. And it's like, oh, holy moly, look at this. It's weird to think if I went the other way, I could have just missed this entirely. But damn, once again, dude, Japan pays off. Just go somewhere. You know, this was just because I got off a station early before I went to Dazaifu, just to walk by and just to see what happened. And then I saw the government office ruins and couldn't help but notice they had a little map that led up into the mountains. Filed that away. Came back to check it out. The first observation deck was a little bit disappointing, not quite what I was hoping to find. And then this one, I didn't even know that was what was up here. I had no idea. I thought there was some kind of mountain shrine or something, which might still be up here somewhere. You know, there's obviously still more to do. Maybe. It's hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, the mountain must continue on with paths. But yeah, it was like that 1-2 punch too, where seeing the highway kind of took the vim out of my sails a little, where I was like, I thought I just went on an epic journey up a mountain, but it turns out there's just a road up here. You know, I could have just driven up here if I knew somebody with a car. But then right after that is this, which speaking of that, this must be what the parking I saw must be referring to this, because obviously if you drove up, you can't just stop on the road. So the parking is further up. It's not quite near here. Who knows? Cars are a whole different world, man. I don't know how that shit works. But fuck, dude, this is like nuts. I just don't know what to say in times like this. It's like I can just see everything. I guess you additionally really do feel like you can see everything in Fukuoka because I'm on a mountain on this side and there's mountains on the other side, all those many mountains I was listing the names off of, just non-stop mountains with their different, layers. They look flat. They look like a painted backdrop for a play. It looks like they're just a series of painted mountain shapes in different shades of dark, of green and black, to make it look like they're going further and further back. They don't look quite real, the human eye just can't differentiate stuff at that distance. It all looks flat. It's so weird. Yeah, and this is nice too because it's not at all like a cliff. Like beyond this there's a little rope fence, but then it goes down to another flat spot. So I don't even feel scared because I don't feel like I'm high up because I'm only a floor and a half up from the next plateau. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me. I guess if I haven't said it directly yet, I think you should I think you should visit Fukuoka. If you're heading to Japan and you're not just, only going to do Tokyo, if you're thinking of other cities to go to, Fukuoka is fucking worth it, dude. Even if only for like a few days, because you could easily hit up these different views. The Aburiyama Plateau, this one here, I think it was worth it to go to Nanzo in. See previous episodes for details. But yeah, there's some fucking banger shit here, dude. There's some crazy stuff. All right, well, it's only getting darker. I should start heading back down. If I was here earlier in the day, I could hang out here. There's a little bench, get some writing done. It'd be nice. How's that for the platonic ideal of being a fancy writer? Oh, I was on top of the mountain. And I wrote this chapter of the book while I was on the mountain. Realistically, I get a lot more writing done on the subway when I'm just trapped somewhere and I just have to kill time till I get to where I'm going. But yeah, because it's getting dark, I don't think I can dawdle for too long up here. Oh, here's a thing. What if, my eyes are certainly not good enough, but okay, so if that's the government ruins just down in front of me, and I know that across the street from here is the best convenience system. I think I see the building, but I can't read the words from here, so that might not be it. I don't know. Thank God for the man who invented glasses, by the way. I got new glasses just before I left Canada. And yeah, geez, without glasses, this is all a blur. I can't see shit. That would be disappointing. To live in the time before glasses. All right, I'm just a rambling man. The wind is getting a little chillier. I'm gonna briefly explore the other way on my way down, but I probably won't get far enough to find anything. Yet another completely random and yet completely fucking excellent adventure in Japan. All right, I went on the path to the left and it just connected back up to the highway, which winds up through the road. But then I saw, as I was coming back down, one of the highway signs had what kind of looked like a little castle rampart looking fucking symbol on it. So I assume that's where, the road goes up to whatever the parking lot is, and then there's something up there. So I think I might run this back. Maybe even tomorrow, we'll see. But if I can get my ass going a little earlier, and there's just so many little ways I could shave things off. I mean, this was a very short trip, ultimately. It just took me a long time because I got off the subway at a station early to explore around, had a whole freaking picnic at the convenience store, went around to the observation deck, had to circle back to the washroom, just really, really taking my time to get through this. But if I just came straight here, I could get back up to where I was in fucking no time. It's like from the subway station. I mean, it's just really not a far distance. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Maybe I will. Because then I like that idea too, that if I do push through further and see whatever's up there, because again, it's just that thing in my brain, what's up there? What if I kept going? What's up there? I gotta know. But it really seems extremely plausible that I could just push all the way through and just come down on the other side where there is subway stations and malls and just more Fukuoka. Way different than yesterday when I was walking through the weird mountain road and it's like, where does this go? I don't even have a guess. Who the fuck knows? In this case, it's pretty clear where it goes. But then on the way down, I found this alternate path that was really steep. I don't think I would take it back up, but it was kind of cool to go down because it had ropes like the whole way. Luckily, I had my little stretchy gloves because I started burning my hands because I was really needing to use these ropes to get down. So kind of a neat alternate path, but yeah, I don't think I'll be going up that way. But then the last little thing, why I wanted to fire up this recorder, it's just weird that this is something I just learned about and then immediately got to apply, is up at the Castle Ruins. After I turned off the recorder, I saw before I left there was a little plastic container with a big heavy rock on the top. So I was like, what is this? So I opened it up and it's candles and incense sticks and all the stuff you would need to do shrine stuff. Though there are also numerous anti-forest fire signs all over the place. It does seem like the two things possibly don't mix that well. I think if you're gonna set up some incense sticks and what have you, you better hang around until they are done for. Maybe put some water on them when you're done. Don't leave them, that seems dangerous. But then, as I was on my way down this new route, I saw a little tiny shrine. But yeah, it had a similar setup. It had a little pot to burn incense and stuff with ashes in it. And it had one of these little plastic tubs with all the stuff in it, but it had been knocked over. I don't know if it was from weather or from an animal or something. But I knew what it was because I had just seen one earlier. So I gathered up all the fallen candles. And the little incense sticks were kind of tricky because they're just little tiny thin green sticks. But I got everything together, got it back in its container. And then I did the same thing that whoever up the hill did. I just found a largish rock, put it on top to make sure that the lid stays on. It's kind of like how I was saying how much I like being praised by my Airbnb hosts for how well I look after their Airbnbs. You know, it's just on a real base level. I like that feeling of being a nice fixer-upper guy, a nice keep everything in order guy. Oh, I came out into the main park. And yeah, this thing I came out of, it's not labeled. But it's a little tiny wooden bridge with white metal little guidepost things on the side, little sides. I definitely walked by here earlier, and this is pretty recognizable. I said I wasn't going to go up that route, but maybe I will if I do come back and do this again. I mean, it was really steep, but like I said, there were ropes. Yank myself up the mountain? Maybe I will. Just maybe I will. But yeah, this is a similar version to that. I mean, no one will know that I fixed up the shrine. Nobody knows that the shrine needed to be fixed up at all, but I just like it. I like how also I noticed even up when I was up by the highway, little brooms hidden all around. Like there was a sign next to the highway, probably describing something about that observation outlook thing I was at, but I didn't try to translate it because I don't want to stand on the highway. Try to translate a sign. But behind that sign were some rakes, just so you could sweep up, you know? And that's all over the place in Japan. There's like the little hidden rake is all over the place to just clean up leaves and stuff. And I like it, you know? I don't need, even though I was like, oh yeah, my Airbnb guy gave me a pat on the head, but I don't need the pat on the head. It's like a karmic pat on the head. I like that idea of just like something's a little amiss, just fix it up. You can clean that up. Why not? Everyone take care of everyone's stuff and everyone's happy. It's so nice. Oh yeah, and here's the washroom. So, just past the washroom, little tiny bridge, alternate path up the mountain. Definitely steeper, but a possibility. But yeah, this very much feels like step one of an ongoing journey. This was the exploratory phase. Now that I know more what I'm looking at and what I'm expecting to do, I can be more prepped for tomorrow. And part of those preparations are I can stop by Best Convenience System. Because, you know, there's soon going to come a time where I'll never see that convenience store again. It seems like pretty much a one-off. So if I get to come walk past it again, why the hell not? Oh yeah, also the 5 o'clock song played. It's a little after 5 now. It's going to be dark real soon. But it's funny because as far as I understand it, that 5 o'clock song, the general idea, I think, is just for kids to know that it's time to go home. Go home and eat dinner. Veronica, dinner. But I wonder, it times out so perfectly with wintertime darkness in Japan that 5 o'clock is when it really starts getting bad, and by 5:30 it's dark as hell. Could it have that meaning too? Because I've made that joke before when I hear that song. Get off the dang mountain. But as I was midway down the mountain when the song started playing, it's like it really is extremely appropriate as a get off the dang mountain song. It's like if you hear this, and for once it wasn't blindingly, crazily loud, it was way in the distance. But if you hear that song and you're in the woods, get the fuck out of the woods, because it's about to get real dark, son. Oh, and the last little thing, I keep thinking of little stuff I noticed. Because the sun is setting, and today it was especially diffused by clouds and crazy God rays, and it just looked like a fucking religious painting. That specific type of light coming through the mountains at the height that I was at, it would shine on parts of the forest, like little rays would break through that made the trees look red, like dark red. It was fucking nuts. I've never seen sunlight alter the color of a tree that much, to the point that, like, from a distance it looked like embers. It looked like little fires. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then as I got closer, I'm like, oh, that's just the sun. That's red sunlight piercing through. That's fucking cool as fuck. But all right, that's it for real. I'm really done this time. But yeah, that could certainly be its own self-contained adventure. But I think it's actually stage one of a super adventure. So stay tuned. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening.